Welcome to Beyond the B, an ongoing dialogue about the past, present, and future of the B Corp movement. Co-hosts Emmy Allison and Ryan Honeyman facilitate an open and honest conversation about the B Corp movement, advise companies on how to increase their impact, and provide a deep dive into the new B Corp standards that are shaping our community.
I'm Ryan Honeyman, a partner at Lyft Economy, and I'm joined by my colleague, Emmy Allison, also from Lyft Economy. Hey, Emmy.
Hi.
And we're back with a special guest today. Our guest is Corey Lien. Corey is a serial entrepreneur turned social impact ecosystem builder. He founded Domi and co-founded the Asia Pacific B Corp Association while launching B Lab Taiwan and the Taiwan Impact Investment Association to advance responsible business leadership. He also serves as an adjunct professor at Fujian University and lectures across Asia on leadership, social innovation, and impact business. His background spans bioscience, chiropractic medicine, fashion design, and an executive MBA from the Chicago Booth School. And after leading a medical B2B e-commerce company to successful IPO and global top 50 ranking, he went on to build and exit companies across pharmaceuticals and fashion. Corey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Hello, everyone. Great meeting you.
And Corey, also, I should give a shout out to Corey because when the podcast was launched, Corey was one of the first people to sign up as a monthly supporter of the podcast. And so thanks for contributing to the podcast, Corey.
Of course, it's amazing initiative and thoughts that bring the new thinking going forward to the society. I think that was so inspirational when I hear about it. And then I think we got back in touch after the podcast. So
that's right. So Corey, maybe for folks who don't know, can you tell us a bit about your background and how you first got interested in the work you're doing today?
Okay. I started as an entrepreneur when I was 17. It was actually when I was studying in Canada. So I went there for high school and my family went through a bit difficult time and I felt like I had to do something. And so I did, and business kind of went alongside of my education all my life. When I came across B Corp movement after maybe 10, 15 years after I started doing business, I just felt that it's an amazing idea. It's just people that are thinking this way. My own public company before, we do CSR once a year. And we felt like we did a lot. Well, it was a lot back then, but it felt like that, okay, we can do more than that. That was an important idea. So my own organization became B Corp, and then I just felt like this is important, seeing what other people are doing and trying to drive this around the world.
Yeah, because you became the first B Corp in Taiwan, right?
Yes.
In 2014? Yeah.
Yes.
As Domi.
Yep.
Yes, as Domi.
Could you tell us a little bit about Domi?
Okay, so Domi was founded to tackle climate change, but I had no idea what climate change back then. Actually, to be honest, at all. We just felt that environment was getting worse, and a couple of us are all parents. And we just felt like, hey, we've been doing this in business side. Can we do something? But when we first found that, we thought we were going to run a nonprofit. But all of us got kids. How are we going to pay for it? So that was kind of the thinking. And then we're like, okay, since a lot of us are business people, why don't we just make money and then do what we can with that money? So that was kind of the foundation when Domi was started. And 6 months later, we came across B Corp. And I was like, okay.
Do you remember what happened? Like, how did you find B Corp? Do you remember?
Okay, so there's a social enterprise media in Taiwan that play a critical role in Taiwan's social enterprise and social-driven business movement. They contacted us. They say, you guys are a social enterprise. And we had no idea what social enterprise is, right? And they said that we heard about what you guys do and you guys are. And then that day, we actually have an official meeting for all the founders that are we a social enterprise or not? And that meeting, the first kind of thoughts from everybody is that, well, if we are, how are we going to make money? And then we started looking into it. Then the B Corp movement show up in our research. Then we're like, okay, so there's some kind of standard. We didn't know what we're supposed to do if we are a company like this, social enterprise, socially driven. What is that? So we're like, okay, let's fill this out and see where we are. Then we click submit. Somebody contacted us that if you guys do this, you guys going to be the first B Corp in Taiwan. I'm like, oh, really? And then it says somebody else doing this. It's like, yeah, but if you guys do it quickly, you'll be the first one. Then we actually finished all the documentations in like a couple of days and then just submit it. Then a few months later, we got it. And that was the beginning. Then I went to the retreat. I actually went to the retreat because of my parents, my mom. My mom's like, if you're doing something like this, you need to know what's going on in the world. So she's like, go, you have to go, right? I'm like, we're still trying to figure out what this is. And then she's like, go, this is important. So I got there, I met you.
Was this 2015 or 2014 when you went?
This was 2014, July.
I wonder where it was in 2014. I don't actually remember.
Was it Vermont?
Yeah, I think
It was.
2014, July. Yes, it was Vermont.
Emmy knows.
Another one I've been to.
I didn't meet you there, Corey, because I had my daughter in 2014 and I missed the Vermont B Corp retreat. So
Then where did we see each other?
I think I featured you in the first edition of the B Corp book and we just talked online probably.
Okay. Yeah.
B Corp, it's a small world.
That was the beginning. I remember that bar Jay and Andrew was talking about this as a global movement. And then I look around, it's like, well, isn't much coming from Asia. So I put my hands up, like, we got to do something there. And that was the beginning. During the break, people came to me and say, how can I do to help? That was it.
Beautiful. Well, maybe just to frame the conversation for folks who are tuning in, part of why we wanted to have Corey on. So as you have heard from Corey's story, he's sort of OG in the B Corp movement, founded B Lab Taiwan, first B Corp in Taiwan. And part of this conversation is an invitation to reflect on the movement, both as a global idea and as something you've had to translate, adapt, and build in Taiwan and in Asia. And so the sort of intention is to clarify the purpose, surface any tensions, name what's been lost, and explore what may be needed. On this podcast and in our conversations, Corey, we've talked about how it feels like the B Corp movement has changed a lot since the earlier days. And we focused really heavily on standards in the last 6 to 12 to 24 to 36 months. But we may be missing some of that original connection to like the why, about why we're all doing this and what problems are we solving. So maybe to kick us off in that, when you first found out about B Corps, what problem did you see it trying to solve from your perspective in Taiwan?
I think the most inspirational part is that business can be a force for good. I think that's the bottom line, the most simplistic form, is that social environmental problem can be on our hand, and then we can become a contributor of it. Not just solving technical problem in the world, but really solving the social issues. That was it. It's not CSR, it's not activity, it's embed in the business.
Could you tell us a little bit about how the sort of original framing of B Corps and how B Lab was presenting B Corp certification, how did that resonate or not resonate in Taiwanese and East Asian contexts?
I think original framing was B Corp can be a force for good to solve social environmental problems. And that was important because that's why we're in it, that we all want our society to be better. And I think the second framing to it is that we are a global movement and we are doing this together as individuals, as companies. And I think that resonated for two parts. It resonated with people. I think that was the foundation. Then it resonated with the company. I think that was the layer that we all want this to happen. And, there's a way to do it in your company. And let's do it, right? Then it provides kind of a pathway idea. I think certification, it's after that initial thought. that was the initial thought that got embedded, and that was the initial thought that triggered people. And then the certification is more of a process that we can do to structure it, to practice it, and things. Yeah.
And which aspects of the sort of early B Corp vision felt most compelling to you personally? And what maybe did you feel was potentially missing?
You mean missing us like at that time or?
At that time, it could also be.
Okay. No, I think the framing was there. I really felt very strongly that one, it's about people in company that they can make a change. And then it's about people coming together. And actually, more importantly, company coming together, that we can co-build this society with government, with nonprofits. I kind of feel that it's that drawing of that we are not a machine and we are able to shape our societies together. So I think it was there, and then I think it's there still in the movement. That's what it is. That's the essence of it.
From your vantage point, have the conditions around sort of gave rise to the B Corp movement, the social, environmental, economic conditions changed since you founded B Lab Taiwan? Like, yeah, is something different now about the world or about the business community or about social movements that's different between back then and now?
I think before it's non-existent, right? So it's about really creating the example, setting the example, letting people know it can exist. And then I think now it exists. Some people really follow it. Some people take advantage of it. And then the world also. Is our overall condition better than before, or with all what's going on right now is actually worse? That one I'm still trying to figure out. It's what's happening right now, our response to our social environmental issue. As countries, our way to respond to social environmental issues, did we advance or we took a step backwards? That part is still trying to figure out.
I think us too, buddy.
Right. So I think that's the question in front of us.
Yeah.
I think now we know it can exist. And what are we going to do with that existence? And how are we going to shape our society? I think that is still ahead. Yeah.
Well, I think this gets to maybe one of the core tensions or questions is, given climate risk, inequality, ongoing GDP-focused growth, is the B Corp movement still the right vehicle for change in its current form?
I think the movement is it the necessity for company to become a certified or not certified? I remember from the very beginning of the B Corp movement, we are all talking about be like a B Corp, right? It's not about if you do get certification or not get certification. I think it's about, do you have it in your heart as your business? And do you continue on with it? So I feel that the B Corp movement is absolutely relevant to what's going on right now. And I think what we're missing is not this. I think what we're missing is building that bridge, building that interdependence, and continue on and do what inspired everybody in the beginning and continue to get it to a critical mass. B Corp or certified or not certified, it's that critical mass that we can feel in our own community, our own city, our own countries, and cross countries. I think that's the core.
Does it maybe make sense to zoom out a little bit? And I think it would be helpful to have some context. What was it like founding B Lab Taiwan in 2015? What kind of messaging was really resonating with folks? What really convinced and compelled people to sort of like get on board with, and like you're saying, sort of whether they chose to pursue certification or not, what convinced people to like join the movement?
I think it started with audacity, I have to say, that I want, and a lot of people in the beginning, those four of us from different companies, we want our society to be better. And that's why we reach out to you. We reach out to different people. That was the first message. And the audacity part is that we book a venue of 250 people. That was our first event. Okay. And we have no idea where these people is going to come from. Honestly, we have no idea. And we're just going to go reach out to people, tell people what this is. And I remember going upstage, I was the first person to speak. There was a deck, I think maybe 12 pages from B Lab. I turned it to like 100 pages. And then I was trying to decide what I was going to say, how many slides I was going to say, even before I got on. And then right before I got on, I remember the culture that Taiwanese have is that when we greet each other, we don't say, how are you? We say, have you eaten? And in our culture, it means that if you haven't, come into my house and let me whip something else simple for you. That was my first message. That was my first sentence, what I said. That to me is we have other people in our mind when we run the business.
I love that. That's so cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's what it is. We just had that consideration always that we don't exist alone and we can do something. That's it. That was the beginning. We had people that stood up and said, this is what I wanted to do for my company. I've been running my company for 13 years. And somebody stood up that my father has been doing this for 20 something years for our company. And everybody in our industry treated like some, who are these guys? That was an accounting firm. Okay. And then at the end of it, we asked people, said, well, if you want to build this together, come. The very next day, we have about close to 20 people show up that I want to do something, right? And we have no idea what to do with that, right? We just had a room and I was like, well, come, and then people show up. And that was the context. Before that, we all wanted to make things different in our industry, in our home, in our life. That was the background of it.
Cool. And I think if we look at the B Corp movement locally in Taiwan and then also globally, where do you think the B Corp movement has genuinely succeeded?
I think it's the idea that spreads, that doesn't matter where you are in an organization, doesn't matter what kind of company you are, you can do something. I think that was the one that universal across where we go. That's why every time we run into each other as B Corp, we know what we're doing. And then every time we run into each other as the movement builders, we're like cousins. We don't have to explain how was your year. We know what it is, right? I think that's the one that globally, I think we're all the same. That piece, we just speak different language. We just have different cultures and it all comes back to that same thing.
I appreciate that. I think it's easy when we're like in the day-to-day and in the weeds, and Ryan and I get to think about impact all day long and like how we can help our clients be the most impactful socially and environmentally. And we're thinking about climate action plans and like employee engagement. And it's really easy to forget that just the idea of B Corp is very infectious, as you say. There's just like a lot of energy in the very premise of businesses as a force for good. And I appreciate your reminding us of that. Do you think that the B Corp movement has fallen short in certain areas, like particularly in regions like Asia that are operating differently from Western business cultures?
I think maybe one background or one trait that exists in a lot of Asian countries, not all, is that we're quite heavily, like a lot of countries got quite heavily influenced by Confucius thinking, right? So we have this thought that if you're doing something good, you don't want to let other people know it. That's kind of the culture of it. So business, I think that takes some time for business to like, okay, should I tell people? Should I not tell people? Should I tell my team? Should I not tell my team? And kind of speak out about what we're intending to do. We're more used to like, we do it, then let it speak for itself much later. But I feel that with the climate going on right now in the world, we gotta speak earlier than later. It's just a trait to know exists and to respect. So there are a lot of companies that even though they'll definitely be certified, they still feel like, okay, we're not good enough yet. We got to get there first. More. We got to do more before we do that. So that exists.
That's so interesting because I think that maybe particularly I can speak better for American businesses. There is a lot of bragging and boasting, and we're accusing certain companies of greenwashing and not doing the things that they say that they're doing, or not committing, or not following through. And it sounds like the business is influenced by Confucius thinking, or like trying to, not be like boastful about it. And I love that. I think we all can do better at sharing, sort of letting the work speak for itself. I appreciate the difference there in the approach.
One thing that you said, Corey, around authenticity, I think resonates. Why did we do this? You'd said authenticity was like the first sort of thing. And I think that's where maybe some of the tensions arise in the B Corp movement. And honestly, it was, I think part of the reason it was created is because if I think Patagonia is authentic, but Ben & Jerry's is not authentic, it's just my opinion, right? Whereas like a standard would say, like, have they met this sort of independent standard? So it's not just people choosing, are you authentic or not? So that was like the original reason. And at the same time, I think it happened in Taiwan as well in other places where those first 20 people that showed up that you mentioned, those were probably the early adopters. You know, like if you think of the bell curve of how does a movement grow. And so those are the people who are like already believe it, who are very authentic, who are just waiting for somebody to say, let's meet up. And I think in the B Corp movement, we've sort of captured a large chunk, not all, but a large chunk of like the authentic early adopter folk. And now we're almost in the like bell curve part where people who didn't necessarily believe in that, but they're like, hey, this seems cool. Could we do this? And it's a little less authentic. But it seems like that's where we're having an identity crisis in a way. Are we a movement that is for the people who from day one are authentic? Or are we a movement saying you don't even have to really be authentic as long as you can meet these standards and you're like working towards progress, even if you're like just trying to make money, but you know B Corp is a badge? How do you see that tension playing out? A hard question.
You thought you were going to get easy questions on the Beyond the B.
I'm trying to think about one. I went into that pursuit myself 2-3 years ago. Like, are we going to get there? The big picture is that, are we going to get there? The vision that we want for our society, are we going to advance as a mankind? Like, business plays such a critical, I would say maybe like 70-80% of our influence in our society, right? So I actually went on to an interview to ask a few people, the people that originated B Corp movement, that was still working there, the people. And I asked them, well, what do we intend to happen that didn't happen? And what we not intend to happen, happened. And I think the one that not intend to happen is that everybody stop at the score, the passing score. Right? Then we're kind of in that area a little bit, a big chunk of it. But then there are types of company that would just, it doesn't matter the score. They just kept going beyond. And then the other part about what designed to happen that didn't happen was we all got that interdependence declaration when we become a B Corp, but the interdependence didn't really happen, right? We still work in silos. We still work as one company. We're still looking at our performance, which that's fine as performance goes. I think maybe that declaration is always there to remind us that we are one. And so I think, Ryan, when you phrase it like that, it kind of helped me thought something new today. It's not about the early adopters or I was thinking like that, okay, the early adopter, then the ones that are authentic. I think we are for the one that's not authentic. That's our existence. I think that's why the whole thing was built. The early adopters will naturally be here. The early adopter is here to bring all the other people to see you can do it this way. I think that's the paradigm shift we are creating. So the whole design was for the people are the most spectrum on the other side.
Yeah, the laggards.
That was what we're here for, right? I remember Jay was talking about we stand for something, but we're not against anything. And that was an important message, is that we're here to welcome everybody. And then we're here to learn how we can do this as a company, which is an organization made up of all kinds of people. And then as a community, as a group of companies. So thank you for asking that question and frame that way. I actually didn't have a thought until you talked about it. I was like, yeah, we started with making our society and environmental better. That's our beginning. That's something that we will not forget. It will be there. And then we're doing this for the places that we're going to is everybody this way. Every company that get into this. It's the fundamental challenge to me personally that do I believe that or not? Can we really collectively just flip over to this? And that question is still in my head. I cannot say I'm 100% there, but that's what we get up for, right?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying too. Yeah, like the way that we're framing it now, it's like the early adopters had to pave the way for the rest of the community. And yeah, as you're saying, like show us the way. But I think too, it's also easy to forget that the B Corp community is such a diverse business community. There's so many different industries and sectors and size companies represented that, yeah, it's easy to get distracted by, oh, maybe this one company maybe shouldn't be allowed or something like that.
Yeah.
When in reality, the diversity of companies that are in this movement should be a strength rather than a weakness, especially when you look at what we're trying to do, which is what you're saying, change society for the better and make the planet a livable and habitable place. I really appreciate your saying it that way.
Maybe one way that we've lost a little bit of the interdependence or never really cultivated it as much is that at least in the sort of earlier editions of the B Corp movement, it was Corey using business as a force for good. We're a movement, but also, I remember Jay would really hammer on, we want to differentiate between good companies and just good marketing. It was sort of like, who are the good companies who are doing this? And in a way, it's almost like we're giving B Corps both an individualistic, you're doing this for yourself, for your own business to like make more money and to do good. But it's like, it's sort of a individual pursuit. And then we're also saying it's a movement. I'm curious, when you reflect on interdependence not quite being there, what were you hoping to see? Or like, what are you thinking of when you sort of feel like the interdependence isn't quite there?
I think maybe let me address it from like one individual company when they go through their own journey. Is they started inside, right? That is our organization being interdependence, right? Do we really see everybody here? And then the other part is about how do we all reach out horizontally? Not only the company itself, but accounting, finance, marketing people reaching out to other marketing people in their profession, right? I think that's that branching out. That yes, we're doing some practice in our business for marketing. From 1 to 10, we're only at 3. And so we're not going to talk about 4, 5, and 6, and 7, but we're going to tell you what we're doing at 3. We're going to speak the 3. We're not going to brag it. No, it's 3. And this 3 means this. And that's authenticity is power. The IT team goes out to other companies. The IT problems that we see that we can shift in our own expertise. Do you want to shift this together? That is the picture that I see, that one company now start branching to others. And it's not about inviting them only to become a B Corp. It's about inviting them to, well, can we do something for marketing? Can we do something for finance? Right? And for what? For shifting our society to be better, to see the challenge that we see in our own position, that if the way keep going this way, maybe the way that we're using technology will not help all of us get there. So I think it's that insight from within that company that goes up. That's perhaps the interdependence that I'm potentially seeing. And yeah.
I love that, starting from the inside out. One other question is, I think part of this interview series or conversations is acknowledging and like sitting with some of the grief of maybe what we had hoped to do or like had aspirations to do. Some has worked and some has not. I feel like sometimes if the B Corp movement keeps hammering forward of like, just keep going, new standards, like bring everyone along, but like we're not grieving what has been lost or like hasn't worked as well. I think that's a problem. And so I'm wondering if there's any elements of the movement that you think we need to acknowledge, like aren't working as well or might need to be changed to make us more effective going forward.
Well, I think is movement the umbrella and certification is the tool, or is certification the umbrella and movement is the tool?
That's the debate that you told me about, right? That's the debate.
It will lead us to different places, right? And I think 5-6 years ago, all the global founders got together. We had a big debate on this. And I think after that debate, the changes it's moving. But I think that both exists and that tension need to exist. It's grieving in a way, but it's a hard space to live. Like, I don't know, I think both need to exist. And I don't know if it needs to exist side by side, or is that movement is the umbrella and then everything else is for that movement. I don't have answer. I don't. And I really don't. I think it's what we need to discover going forward, and we need to put it in practice, and then we need to keep it open. I don't think it's answer time. I think it's keeping that question time. Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, I think you're saying also it's more about the journey than the destination, but I really appreciate let's stay open-minded here. Corey, from where you sit, does this feel like more of a moment of renewal or a moment that calls for something fundamentally different to emerge alongside or beyond B Corp?
I think renewal is to remember why we are doing this. It's like take that back and then dust it off and keep going. That's one. And then I think in terms of when we talk about fundamentally different emerge, I think the message for the company is that nothing's gonna stop you with the certification or without the certification. Nothing's gonna stop you with that invisible score that you need to get. It's to get back to, I think for company, it's what they're doing this for and who are they doing this for. It's a critical message for themselves that it's not just about using business for good. It's about which is the one that you're doing, which is the one that concerns you, and what is the shift you want to create in your company and your industry, and why do you want to create that shift? And once that shift happens, whose life is going to be better for it? I think identifying each company, I think that it's not about before it's non-existent, we're telling people that, okay, you can do this. Now, each company find what are you doing this for? And who is it for? And I think that maybe is the new kind of iteration of what we're doing next. Then it's internal for them. They're not doing it for compliance. They're not doing it for marketing. They're doing it for them. There's something exists in their organization they want to pursue. And we saw that in a lot of early adopter. We saw that in a lot of companies that they came later, but they've been doing that. And I think that's the part of why they are so alive, right? I saw a company in Japan that they've been around for 20-something years. And I went into the room, then you just know they've been living this for 20 something years. It's a publicly listed company, and they've been living it. And they're unlike a lot of mainstream Japanese company. Like you go into the room, the first thing you see is kitchen. Of a public company, the first thing you walk in is a kitchen. Anybody can make food there. And then the second thing you see is the CEO's office. And it's a transparent window. So you can see her. Like you walk in kitchen and her, right? So I think it's that there's something that in each organization's blood and find that blood. And I think maybe that's the new thing that we are iterating to talk about what is business focus.
What do you think has been gained locally by welcoming a wide range of companies into the movement? And maybe what also has been sort of diluted or lost? So what has been gained and what has been lost?
I think one is the diversity of the company bring us to the ground. That we are not a preacher. We have to get to work, right? It's not about preaching this concept. You have to live it. And I think that diversity allow everybody in the industry, cross-industry, eco-movement builder to really look at things that needs to really shift. You need to talk to people. You need to talk to so many people that have no idea what this is. Right? Not the movement, but making change, right? And I think that's the great part about the diversity. The diversity also brings this non-fancy feeling. It's not about this type of company can become one, the public company can become one, or because the CEO went to school somewhere. No, it's just any kind of people. It was any kind of problems. And that is the best part of it. And I think the part that it seems to be losing is people's faith, beliefs. Because with that diversity, it's easy to put labels. We didn't have excuse to put labels. Now we can put labels. That guy's not good enough. That one is not, so I don't have to do that much anymore. I think that was a kind of this is mean. This is really blunt, but it's an opportunity for people not to do something, to convince themselves that, okay, fine, then I'm not going to do something, right? And that faith is kind of missing. It's like, oh, maybe that big company, I saw many bad things that they do. So, nah, it's fake, right? But without realizing that even changing one little thing in the organization takes a lot of time, right? Maybe not for that company, but it is for the other company. I do the same thing. I felt that way as we grow this last 10 years, is labeling other people, right? And then, so I can take a break today. So I'm a co-player, I'm one of it, right? That's what is kind of missing. We're diminishing that belief and faith.
One thing that I feel is a tension in the B Corp community that plays out in interesting ways. So tell me if this theory resonates with you, Corey. You have companies who really care about being certified, but not just being certified, about being differentiated within the community. So it's like, I'm not just 80 points, I'm 150 points, I'm 190 points, whatever. Whether that's B Corp Gold, Platinum, Silver, whatever variation of that differentiation could be. I know B Lab was looking at like meets the new standards, exceeds. So there's that. And then there's the tension in that is, I remember talking to Jay a year or so ago, and he was saying one of the reasons they never did a gold, platinum, silver is it's hard enough for consumers to understand like what a B Corp is, let alone a gold B Corp or a silver B Corp or a platinum B Corp or something. He felt like sometimes the number, the score was actually a block to like broader consumer understanding of B Corps. But so I know that that's one reason they went away from that in the new standards. But my heart of hearts feels like we're all sort of doing this and it's like fun to compete and be competitive. And like, we want to be better within, like, I don't want to just be certified. I want to be in the top ranks I want to be in the top 10% of all B Corps in terms of score. Do you feel like that differentiation, if we brought it back, because I know that the B Lab is open they're not saying like there's no longer any differentiation forever. It's just on this version, they talked about like needing to just do away with differentiation because of the European regulations and just getting the new standards set. But do you feel like the differentiation and whether, it's bronze, gold, platinum, B Corp, or score or something, do you feel like that meaningfully could increase excitement or engagement with some of the B Corps who might feel a little bit more disconnected now that that component's gone?
I think so, in terms of company want to know how they measure up. Internally, I think that help. I think externally about business, it helps. I was thinking as you asked the question is that what if there's no B Corp certification going forward? Would that matter to the company that wanted to do this? So if we have a B Corp movement, but we don't have a certificate, then it's the company that believe in this way will continue to go forward without it. So certification is helpful, it's important. And I think the messaging behind it is more important than even. And I think I can see why there's no score now. Doesn't matter if it's political reason or it's regulatory reasons. It's about leadership. It's not about management. So it's about leading yourself. It's about leading people around you. Having those challenges, it's hard. I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm not going to have a score. Right? I mean, for Domi too, right? That's why I like to do both. I want to always do both because then I can see both sides, right? And it's hard. And then, then deal with the hard. Because what we're really, really dealing with is harder.
Yeah.
We got to make business work and we got to make society work in one company. Well, how do we do that? Let's focus on that, right? That's the question. That's the harder question. And that's the question of why we're here. Why we exist as a group of people inside the company if you choose to go down to this movement, right?
Something that I'm sort of piecing together, hearing you talk about this, Corey, and the way that you framed the question, Ryan, is okay, without the score, we all have these minimum requirements across all the different areas of business. And hearing Corey say like, oh, I thought there was going to be more interdependence in this movement. I'm wondering, as we shift attention and focus away from the scores, which sort of engenders this competition amongst B Corps and the, race to differentiate, what if our energies are now shifted towards supporting each other in achieving these requirements when there's no longer like this element of competition? And I think that could be like a really cool thing.
Yeah, I'm thinking that are we internal driven or external driven when we do this? Do we want other people to see us, or we want there's a message we are building inside our organizations that we want to share with other people? I think that's kind of essentially which one is our umbrella inside the organization. Is it how other people see us, or what is the thing that we are creating? And I asked myself that question inside Domi. The price that we're willing to pay to get there, and all these other things to help us to get there, whatever tool it is, but without it, we build a tool. That's it. So, and then, but I think that also led us into like, okay, we don't have that score as an assistant anymore. Now, let's get back to what we are really talking about. So, I know I'm gonna be in that challenge as Domi move forward to our certification. I remember that we used to be like one of the few companies in the world to receive like best for the world for environment, best for the world 3-4 times in a year. And if we don't talk about that, what do we talk about? Let's talk about what the people we're doing this for, right? Let's talk about what is the changes we're doing. Yeah, maybe the shortening the transaction, it's actually forget about the transaction cost and getting into the conversation, maybe getting back us to the essence. Yeah, I'm not trying to guess what Be Like Global, the organization itself is doing, but I just think that this is a challenge we take.
One of the things, Corey, that dovetails with what you're saying is in the first edition of the book I wrote, which you were featured in, is the number one benefit that people got out of becoming a B Corp was community. They said it's not marketing, it's not the people, like the attracting talent, it's not benchmarking our performance, it's the community. And so I do think there has been an interdependence or like a feeling of this is my tribe, these are my people, I want to connect and like we want to figure this out, this is great. And I feel like that's not necessarily the same answer that I would get if I did that survey now. Like, I don't think people would say the community is the number one benefit. I think people would say attracting talent or brand differentiation. But I'm curious, does that seem correct to you? Or do you think community still is, like in Taiwan, is community the main benefit that you see? Or how does that resonate with you?
I think I would say the same thing in a way that the priority, the answers will be shifted. But I think the part about community I'm thinking alongside is that is the community now become more giver than taker or more taker and giver? I think that's probably more of a question. Is that are we here to talk about how good our performances are? Or are we coming together to look at what we are tackling together? So I think that perhaps is what the community, but before it's about community finding answers for ourselves. Now it's community finding answers for community. And I think maybe that's the part that going forward. So I think the priority, if we do a survey now, the priority will shift, that people gain more of the things that we're trying to show them, like brand differentiations and teams that people will join you because you are B Corp, right? I think the community now is not about how anymore. It's about why and then the how again, right? So that I think that articulation will need to shift now. Oh man, these are tough questions. And when you say you're gonna send me the questions, I didn't expect, first of all, that many, and second, that tough. But I think those are the things that we need to keep in front of ourselves.
Yeah.
And we also need to let company ask their own tough questions, the question that they're willing to live in. Yeah, go ahead, please.
A lot of what you're saying is really resonating. And I really also just appreciate the sort of look inward first and look internally first and figure out how to be the best company we can be before worrying about the badge or the points or anything like that. But yeah, I think these new standards will shift things in a really meaningful way, and we'll see how that goes. We usually wrap all of our episodes by asking, what do you need right now? And where can we learn more about your work, Corey?
What I need, I think, is to reach out to more companies together. I mean, us, B Corp and us, Domi. And to, for example, what Left Economy is doing, what Domi is doing, can we shorten all our learning curve? I think with different contexts going on with different country and different business that we run into, there's insights, there's way of thinking that we can combine, and maybe that triggers someone and that triggers someone. So I think working together across companies that are going through this process and sharing that, I think that's what I need. And then in terms of how to find Domi and how to find me, anyone that's doing something in Asia, like Domi right now have four operation in 4 countries. We just started Canada, and we are in Japan, Taiwan, and Thailand. When we started Canada, it's at the capital of oil in Edmonton, right? And we wanted to see if one of the critical source in the world, that city will be able to look at things different. And so I need help. I need company that wanted to do this and not knowing how to do it or to discuss it together. And I need help for people that wanted to spread the word, to take a stand together. And We started last July with the first forum, conference. And then same thing happened. A couple of days later, we did a barbecue and people show up. And then now there's a WhatsApp group of 14, 15 people that meets every 2 weeks to try to shift the city together from all aspects of the business and nonprofits. And that bottom-up community exists everywhere, right? It could be a small town. I think we can do that. It doesn't matter what country we're in. Now it's much easier than before. Like in 2 hours, it's their nighttime and my daytime, and we're going to meet, right? That's the grassroots. And doesn't matter what resource we have. And there's a country in Asia right now, like the B Lab the B Lab in that country is having hard time, resource and manpowers and stuff. Then one company just from Spain that just like, okay, I'll do something. And then they went there and now they're organizing a rally in April. I'm like, you're from Spain. There. That's what it is. That's what it is. And so that's what we need. And that's how to find me. Just find me, we talk, and then talk about what you want to build. And let's pull people together and build it. Sorry, that was a long message.
Your optimism is infectious.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining, Corey. And I recently got back from a meditation retreat, and it was talking about the small step-by-step journey on the path. I'm usually someone who gets skeptical and overwhelmed when someone says, go slow, build step by step. But I'm feeling more grounded in, yes, we can make changes. It's just going to be step by step together. So I appreciate you with that message.
Knowing you guys exist is my foundation. Like Brian, I mentioned to you last time we talked, your book, your determination of iterating it to creating all these conversations, it subconsciously empowered me and so many other people. That's why I think that one is, you asked me what time is it? I said, I got up and I prepared.
It's 6 a.m. for Corey, everyone. Or not anymore, but it was.
Bless.
Yeah. I got up at 5 and then I went to bed like 12, 11 o'clock. And I was like, I gotta get up. Right? That's why we're here. We're here for each other, and that's why we get up for each other. So thank you. Thank you guys. Honestly, knowing that none of us are alone. That's what the dark hours get us through the dark hours.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, Beyond the Bee listeners. If you're looking for even more inspiring conversations with leaders on the front lines of our movement towards just futures, be sure to subscribe to Next Economy Now, produced by the team at Lift Economy. Next Economy Now broadens the focus beyond the B Corp movement to highlight the leaders who are taking a regenerative, bioregional, democratic, equitable, racially just, and whole systems approach to creating the new economy. Check out our latest episodes at lifteconomy.com/podcast. You can subscribe to Next Economy Now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.